Okay, go ahead and get out your GLOW review from Friday. It should be in the front pocket of your green binder. I'm going to pull up the answers. I want you to check your answers. Notice 2 of them have red boxes around them. Everybody see those 2 red boxes? We're going to discuss those 2, okay? If we need to discuss any other ones, we will. So I want you to look at the ones you missed. Okay, we're going to talk about number 8 and number 12 and any other ones you guys need me to talk about. So if there's one that you missed and you can't figure out why, put a star by it, and then in just a minute we will discuss it. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to check your answers. If you missed a multiplication problem, what do you think I want you to do? Try and rework it, see if you can get to this answer. If you can't, raise your hand and I will come help you. Yeah, so C, let me fix it. It was 4, 8, because it was 1200, 1,200 times 40. 12 times 4 is 48. 3 zeros in the problem, 3 zeros in the answer. Is anyone still checking these ones? No? Okay, does anybody have questions about any of these besides 8 and 12? Besides 8 and 12, those ones were kind of tricky ones. Okay, we're going to look at number 8 and number 12. Those were a little bit more challenging. They were not impossible, and we should be able to do them. It was just kind of hard to figure out what they were even asking. So number 8, let me find it. Number 8 said the floor of a small foyer will be made from square ceramic tiles. There's lots of words in there that if we don't know what they're talking about, it's hard for us to visualize this word problem. What is a foyer? What is a foyer? Most of your houses have foyers. Who has a guess? It's part of your house. Aiden?
Your floor?
It is. It has a floor. Okay, it's like a front entryway of a house, like from your front door into the house. Raise your hand if you kind of have a foyer. Not all houses do. If you open your front door and you're like in the living room, you don't have a foyer. But if you kind of have like a little hallway area, that could be considered like a foyer area, okay? So we're all kind of visualizing a wide hallway area. What shape typically are those? Usually rectangles, okay? So for number 8, I'm going to kind of draw it out for you to help. Okay, so here's our foyer. Nice, pretty rectangle. Okay, there's our foyer. And it says it'll have square ceramic tiles. What are ceramic tiles? Elise? Well, ceramic tiles don't have to be on the floor. Some backsplashes are ceramic tiles. It's just like tiles on the floor. The floor, if you look down at our floor right now, those are square ceramic tiles. Those ones are 12 inches by 12 inches. Okay, it's just a tile floor. So we're going to cover this foyer with square tiles. How big are our square tiles? Kinley, how big did it say our tiles were? Do you remember? Oh, you guys don't have a problem from me. They're 7 inches. Okay, so we have these little square tiles that are 7 inches by 7 inches. And our foyer, the problem told us it was 28 inches by 42 inches. So we have to figure out, it asks how many ceramic tiles are needed. We need to know how many of these will it take to cover all of that foyer area, because we don't want to leave gaps. We don't want to leave some flooring not covered. Who has an idea of how I can figure this out? Hutley? Okay. Okay, so you're saying 42 divided by 7. I'm going to write it like that, 28 divided by 7. So 42 divided by 7 equals 6. 28 divided by 7 equals 4. How does that help me, Hutley? Okay, so that tells me that to cover the 42, I can fit 6 tiles over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And to cover the 28 inches, I can fit 4 tiles. If I just counted those, would that give me the whole foyer? No, but if I know I'm going 6 across and 4 down, how can I figure out how many tiles it will take me, Fisher?
4 times 6.
Yeah, 4 times 6. So 4 times 6 is what, Fisher? 24. Okay, and again, that one was challenging. Does the picture help make sense of that one? Yeah, okay. What was the other one I said we'd talk about? 12. Okay, and this one you had to use some of your background knowledge. Number 12 said each side of a cube-shaped box measures 8 feet. To find the volume, multiply the length times the width times the height. Express the amount of space inside as a power and then find the amount in cubic feet. So lots of words there. It tells us we have a cube-shaped box. What do we know about cubes? Aubrey?
All sides are the same.
What do you mean by that?
They're the same height.
Okay, it's a 3D figure made up of what shape? Squares, okay? It's actually 6 squares all put into a 3D shape. So if it tells me that the box measures 8 feet, okay, if I just draw one side of the box, one of the squares, that means it would be 8 by 8. The flat side that we would see when we look at it. This wants me to find volume, which we have not talked about, but it tells me in the problem how to find volume. It says multiply the length times the width times the height. So it says multiply the length times the width times the height. For a cube-shaped box, Wyatt, what would the length be? What does it show? Okay, but what would our dimension be? What would the length be? Jackson? 8. Ava, what would the width be? 8. Now, the height is not shown here, but if it's a cube, all of the dimensions are the same. So what would the height also be? 8. Okay, so your math problem for number 12 was just 8 times 8 times 8. And it says, express the amount of space as a power. Braylon, how do I write 8 times 8 times 8 as a power? 8 cubed. So that was one of your answer. And then it asked me for the amount of space in cubic feet, which means find the value of 8 times 8 times 8. 8 and 8 falls in the floor. Pick it up. It's 64 times 8. What was it? 216? Whew, I'm way off. 64 times 8. 2, so 48, 49, 50, 51, 512. And it gave us the label of cubic feet, but we can just write it like that. That's cubic feet. Again, that one, the vocabulary was a little more challenging on those two. The math behind it wasn't so terrible. Okay, in class today, you're going to start your review assignment. Okay? If you have a math book, Addie, what page is that?
144.
Open it to page 144. If you have a math book, open it to page 144. If you do not have a math book, pull out the packet that I put on your desk. The first page you should see is page 144. Wyatt, do you have a packet? Whose is, oh, Wyatt, is this your book? Sorry, I might have pulled it. Okay, so you should be looking at page 144, which is the fluency practice. Remember, today you're having a review assignment. We're reviewing more in class tomorrow. And what do you have on Wednesday? a test over chapter 2. It'll include multiplication, exponents, estimating, and that's really it. Okay? So you have about 25 minutes of class left. I'm going to give you what your assignment is, okay? It's kind of a long one, but again, you have 25 minutes to start on it in class. Now, on the fluency practice page, I'm going to give you 5 of those. So if you have a book, you will need to circle these. If you have the packet, I already have them circled for you. But you're going to do number 1, number 2. You can either circle it or pull out a highlighter and just highlight these numbers, whatever you want. And then 13, 15, and 16. So you're doing 5 problems on that page. I tried to give you a mix of 2 by 2 and 3 by 2 just to get a little practice. I do not care which method you use. If you use lattice, you may need to pull out a piece of scratch paper. Okay? Algorithm you should be able to fit on there. Lattice takes up a bit more space and you might not have room for that one. On the vocabulary, we're going to do some of them together. Let's mark off distributive property. Number 1, we talked about compatible numbers. Okay, who remembers what are compatible numbers? And then we'll try and find a definition that fits. Compatible numbers. Think about what it means to be compatible. Addie J? Yeah, numbers that get along, numbers that work well together. What did we say to think about when we're thinking about compatible numbers? Augie? Fact families. So read through the definitions and see if there's one that talks about numbers getting along or numbers that work well together. Fact families, anything along those lines. Kinley, did you find one? Yeah, numbers that are easy to multiply mentally. Where's that at? F. F. Okay, numbers that work well together. Do you think mental math numbers work well together? Yeah, they make our life easy. That was kind of a weird one. Mark off B, because that's the definition to distributive property. The rest I think you can come up with. You might have to narrow some choices down to get it, but I think you'll be okay. Okay? Go ahead and turn to the next page. On 10 and 11, what will your work look like if you're doing prime factorization? Braylon? The factor tree. Yep, the factor tree. 12 through 15 are pretty straightforward. Numbers 16, 17, and 18. I want you to underline the word estimate and then multiply. How many different problems are you working there? 6 problems. For each of those, you will have how many answers? 2 answers. You will have your estimate and your actual. So on that one, you will have 2 answers for each of those. An estimate and the actual. For 19 and 20, just make it say find each product. 19 and 20, just make it say find each product. You can mark out the rest of the directions. You're just doing 2 by 1 multiplication there. Okay, and on page 147, I'm not going to change anything on those ones. Okay, so it sounds like a lot. Your homework is pages 144 to 147. But do you have all of page 144? No, do not do all of page 144. Okay, I want you to go ahead and get started. Let's use our time wisely. Whatever you don't get done in class is your homework. But again, you'll probably get a lot of it done in class today. If you need help, raise your hand and I can come help you.